Hey guys, me host Super Sorrel, thank you very much for tuning in. So today it's my top 10 3.75 inch Star Wars action figures video. I want to count down my favourite action figures from the Star Wars collection that I have. These are my favourite 3.75 inch figures. 3.75 inch figures have been a staple of Star Wars ever since Kenner started producing them for the first Star Wars movie with the early bird kit and all that good stuff. And as we've gone on, they've just got better and better and better. My list has a complete mixture of all sorts of figures here, mainly from the modern era. In fact, they're all from the modern era, really. But they're all really cool figures that I think are worthy of being in my top 10 list. You guys, I want to know what your favourite top 10 figures for Star Wars are as well, and let us know in the comments below. We can debate down below your top 10 against my top 10. Remember, there's no right and wrong answers here. This is just my favourite figures according to me. So guys, without further ado, let's jump in at number 10. Number 10, it is the Mandalorian himself. This figure came out as a Walmart exclusive and it came with the little baby Grogu. This figure is very hard to get hold of, but I love it so much, so let's take it. Number 10 on our list is Din Djarin with Grogu. This vintage collection figure, number 177 from 2020, was the Walmart exclusive, and he came with the little baby Grogu, and he also had the unmasked head, which everybody wanted at the time. The unmasked head is still one of the best of the Mandalorian figures that we've had so far. The 6-inch version, the face left a lot to be desired, to the fact that I didn't even bother getting one. But the actual 3-inch figure is really nice looking. This was the carbonized version as well, and it's just such a nice version of the figure. I really like it, and I think it's a great addition to any collection. He had to make number 10 because I don't think he doesn't have that same nostalgic feel as some of these figures do on this list for me, but definitely this is worthy of a number 10. Coming in at number 9, it's Palpatine. This figure came out as a part of the Last Jedi figures, and it came as the single pack here in the UK. I believe it did come out in a double pack and things like that later on, but here in the UK we seem to have got it as a single figure that was rarer to find than anywhere else in the world, apparently. I remember getting mine and reviewing it, and everybody was like, whoa, you have one! It was like a really elusive figure to get hold of. But I had one and I reviewed it on my channel. If you want to see the full review, I will leave some links down below to these figures that I've reviewed. But let's take a closer look. So this Darth Sidious was actually a part of the Return of the Jedi series for the Last Jedi collection in 2018. And it did come as a 2-pack, but I got mine as the single-packed variant. It comes with his lightning hands as well as his walking stick and other accessories. This figure was very sought after. I know a lot of people ended up importing it from all sorts of places, but it did start showing up in Entertainer when they were starting to get rid of old stock of Star Wars stuff. It did slowly start appearing. So definitely worth checking out your Entertainers from time to time, as they do purge their Star Wars collections quite regular, and you can end up finding some gems from their warehouse like I did. But this figure was immaculate. It was brilliant. I really liked it. The face sculpt is top notch, and those lightning hands are just perfect. Come to die. Definitely worth having for any major Star Wars fan. That face sculpt alone makes it awesome. Definitely worth picking up, guys. Number 8, it's Saw Gerrera. I love this figure because it's only one of the only few figures we have of Saw. He's been in so many things now. He's been in the Fallen Jedi game. He was in Rogue One. He was in Rogue One. He was in Clone Wars. He was in Rebels. But yet we've yet to have a definitive 6-inch Black Series figure made of him. I hope he's on Hasbro's list to give us a figure, because he is absolutely amazing. I'd love to see him get recreated in the 6-inch scale. But for now, guys, I do have the Rogue One Jedi Escape Pack 4-pack figure, which was one of my favourites from the Rogue One line. He came with two tubes, and he came with a bunch of other figures as well. But Saw was the reason I bought that pack. I wanted a Saw Gerrera figure so much, so here it is. Now, this figure needs no introduction, really. It's Saw Gerrera from the Jedi Revolt 4-pack. And he was from the Rogue One collection back in 2017 and was well worth picking up. I'm not sure if I think this was, I know at the time it was Toys R Us where I got mine. I'm pretty sure this was a TRU exclusive, or at least that's who stocked the 4-pack. I didn't see many other places stocking it. But yeah, this figure was, again, is still one of the only times we've ever had a Saw Gerrera action figure. In fact, this might still be the only one we've had. I can't remember if Clone Wars ever produced one. And Rebels definitely didn't. So this is definitely one up there as one of those amazing figures. And I definitely think he should be recreated in the 6-inch line, because I think he's now become such a character from everything from Rebels to Rogue One to Clone Wars. We're probably going to bump into him in the Bad Batch as well, because it's around that time period. So Saw Gerrera has definitely been fighting the good fight for a long time against the Empire, and he definitely deserves a 6-inch figure. What do you guys think? Let us know down below. Coming in at number 7, it's Darth Maul. Now this Darth Maul is the one with the mechanical legs after getting himself pulled back together thanks to the Night Sisters in Clone Wars. This figure is a 2008 Clone Wars figure, I want to say. I'm trying to look at my notes while I'm talking to you, and no, 2013! 2013 Clone Wars color collection for this one. Let's take a closer look at the figure. Now this Darth Maul's a little bit tall for our camera angle here, so I've had to zoom out a little bit. This is Darth Maul. Now this Darth Maul is probably one of my favourites. This is from the collection number 8 from 2013, Clone Wars the collection, and this is Darth Maul. He was the robotic legs version, which came with the spinning lightsaber, which I do have somewhere. It came with that little funny contraption that made it spin in his hands, which is kind of cool. But this figure was great because it gave us that awesome head sculpt for one. That's a great 3-inch head sculpt for this figure. And it also gave us these awesome robotic legs. This is the first time we've ever had a Darth Maul. I think it's the only figure of Darth Maul with the robotic legs until recently when the new fleet, New Mission Fleet gave him the robotic legs again, I believe. But this is a perfect rendition of Clone Wars version of Darth Maul when we first find him. And if I remember rightly, hasn't he lost his mind at this point? And he's gone a bit doolally and he needs his brother to help him. And yeah, it's just such a cool storyline. And then he ends up getting his legs back, which is cool. But yes, this figure is definitely awesome, and I really do like it. It's up there for me as one of my favorites. I remember finding it on the internet at the time and being really over the moon with it. I did review the full figure, so if you want to see the full review, please let us know. And yeah, I can definitely link it for you. But again, this figure was just such an awesome part of Star Wars history for me. And you guys know that Darth Maul is my favorite hero, villain and hero from the line. So I definitely needed that figure. I needed to own it. But guys, what are your thoughts on this Darth Maul? Let us know in the comments. Next up, you can't have Darth Maul without his younger brother. It's Assaj Ventress. Again, one of the only figures we have of Savage. He got a few little 3-inch figures during the Clone Wars era, but yet we've yet to see him come along as a 6-inch figure. And he's one of the reasons that Darth Maul gets his sanity back and comes back to the forefront as one of the main villains. So without Assaj Ventress, I don't think he would have captured Mandalore. So he needs to be brought back in 6-inch, don't you agree? We need a 6-inch figure of Assaj Ventress to go with our Darth Maul, especially as we're getting that new Darth Maul, the topless Darth Maul that we're getting from the comic books. We really need a Assaj Ventress to go with him. That would be really cool. But for now, guys, let's take a look at Assaj Ventress. Now it's time for Assaj Ventress from the number 55 in the Clone Wars collection. This is the 2011 Assaj Ventress Clone Wars figure, and he is awesome. This is the one that came with the big battle axe and battle armor. You can get another version of him that came in with the pack with the Night Sister, I believe. But this figure is awesome. I like this one. I picked this up actually at Car Boot a few years back, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, whoa, having that, he's mine. Sadly didn't have any more Clone Wars figures, because I would have bought them all. But yeah, they had this guy, and as soon as I saw Savage, I had to buy him. He's Darth Maul's brother, and he's just so awesome. It's such a shame that they went out the way they did in the Clone Wars against the Emperor. But again, it's what it is. But this figure is awesome, and I would love to see it get recreated in the 6-inch line. This figure for me was great as well. It did have limited articulation given the long skirt piece that does come with him, but you can still get some great poses out of him like I've got here. He is a big hulking tank of a dark side user. I'm going to say Sith Lord, but people go mental when I say things like that because he's not actually a Sith. But either way, such a cool figure, and I really like him. He's so awesome. Guys, what are your thoughts on this one? Have you got this figure in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Number 5, it's Chewbacca, and this Chewbacca came from the Shadows of the Empire line back in 1996. This figure I've always wanted since I was a kid. My cousin had one, and it took me ages to track one down, but I managed to get one pretty easily as I've got older and I've got money. I was able to grab one when I went to Doncaster Comic Con, I think it was a little while ago, and I managed to find one of my favourite figures. Is Chewbacca as the Bounty Hunter Snoover. When Shadows of the Empire came out, obviously there was no movie, there was nothing. It was just a made-up story that Hasbro made to make some figures. And it is awesome, and I think that's a really cool idea. And I think it's been a while since Hasbro's done something like that. I wouldn't even go mad if they did that in today. If they just made a line of figures and made their own storyline to go with it, that would be awesome. So let's take a look at Chewie. We're going to do the Wookiee call because it's Chewie time. Chewie as the Bounty Hunter Snoover from Shadow of the Empire from all the way back in 1996. As we said, it was a dark time for Star Wars fans. There hasn't been a film in such a long time, and the Shadow of the Empire series came out, which basically Hasbro made up their own storyline and basically brought it to life. And you know what? It's awesome. I wish they would do that more often. I would actually really like it for them to do something like that nowadays, where they just create their own Star Wars story and release a load of figures for us. Do it old school. Pack a comic book in there with every figure. That'd be awesome, you know. I'd love them to go back to doing something like that with major lines like this. It'd be so cool. But the figure itself is very nice. I always loved the fact that you could still tell it was Chewie, but it was definitely trying to be somebody else. And I love the flat top on the Wookiee, by the way. Amazing. I want that haircut. But yeah, this figure is just so awesome, and it took me so long to track one down for a reasonable price, and I was able to unbox him as well. I know, sacrilege. He was card-backed, but I unboxed him. Got him from Doncaster Comic Con, I believe it was a few years back now. Can't stand him up now. There we go. But he is awesome, and like I said, I really do like this Chewie. The Shadow of the Empire has a lot of memories for a lot of people. If you'd like to see me do a few more reviews from this era, please let me know. I'd love to do some more because I've seen some stuff that I can get hold of. So if you want to see me review some, let me know. Number 4, it's Starkiller, Galen Merrick. I was obsessed with these video games when they came out on the Xbox. I absolutely played them to death. In fact, I smashed that B button so much to do force attacks that I ended up breaking a controller. Oh yes, the spring wouldn't bounce in the B button after playing those two games. You had to press B button that much for all those little cut scenes and stuff. I ended up destroying a controller. But yes, I would love to see this guy get remade as a 6-inch. It is one of the fan vote figures, so I do hope it does win. As much as I would love Ahsoka Tano to win yet again, I really want Galen Merrick to win so we can have a Starkiller recognised finally in 6-inch. But that's only if Hasbro give us a deluxe version so we can change the armour around for light side and dark side, as that was the beauty of the video game. You could play as either light or dark. You could take his powers to darkness or bring them to light. You had multiple endings to the game, so therefore the figure should have multiple accessories, in my personal opinion. We should be able to have both blue and red lightsabers, things like that. He should have mini accessories so we can recreate those awesome scenes from the video game. But let's take a look at Galen Merrick. Straight out of the video game, it's Galen Merrick, the Starkiller. This was from the Black Series 3.75-inch line. He's number 5 in the collection, I believe, from that time, and he's number from 2014. This figure is awesome again. I really like this one, and this is up for a fan vote right now for it to be recreated as a part of the 6-inch line. I'd love for it to win. As much as I love Ahsoka Tano, I would actually love for this guy to actually win it. It would be so cool to have yet again another Starkiller figure in the range in the 6-inch. Well, the first one, should we say? I mean, again, because obviously we got this is still a Black Series at the end of the day. So it would be the second Black Series, but the first 6-inch if we got it recreated, which would be awesome. But let's not knock on the 3-inch. The 3-inch is still good to this day. That face sculpt is still pretty decent. And he came with multiple accessories and things like that. So if we can actually pop his head off. And the actual armor pieces were removable. As you can see, he's got gauntlet pieces, and they just pop off. It's just so awesome that they made as a figure that was so... you could quickly remove things from him just to create a totally different figure and add new accessories to him. And that's what I think, if we recreate him as a Black Series 6-inch, That's what I need them to do. They need to still have that, because that's what made the first figure so awesome. So please, if you give us a new Galen Merrick, please make sure it is one that we can customize, accessorize to be both Empire and Jedi, as he struggles with his path along the Force. It was a great game. I played both Force Unleashed 1 and 2, and I wish they would have created a third. Such an awesome gaming series, wouldn't you agree? Let me know in the comments your thoughts on Galen Merrick. My favourite Ahsoka Tano from my collection, all the way from the Clone Wars movie. She comes with the little Hut figure, except I didn't get mine with the little Hut figure, sadly. I got this one second hand, and she was very expensive and very hard to get hold of here in the UK, but at least I finally got one. This, I believe, is the first ever figure for Ahsoka Tano. I believe this to be the first one. I need to do my homework on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And it's one of the oldest anyway, and I love this figure. So I'm going to do a video with all my Ahsokas, guys. That is coming up still, so please stay tuned for that. But for now, let's take a look at this awesome Ahsoka Tano. One of my Grail figures that I love so much. It's Ahsoka Tano. Now, this Ahsoka came with Rotta the Hutt, which I never sadly got, but it's from the Clone Wars collection. She's number 9 and from 2008, based on the Clone Wars movie. This is our young little Padawan Snips as she first appeared in Star Wars. And I actually remember going to the cinema to see the Clone Wars movie with my little brother and thought she was the most annoying character on the planet. But as time went on and she got more mature and we got used to her, I quickly fell in love with the character and thought she was absolutely amazing. So definitely the talents of Ashley Ackenstein shine through with Ahsoka, and she's become a fan favourite now with hashtags like Ahsoka Lives, fans not allowing them to write her out of anything. She has to survive. And she's definitely, one of my favourite characters in the Star Wars world, as you guys know. She's probably my favourite light side user. And definitely I can't wait to see her reappear in live action in her own television series very soon. But yes, this is definitely worthy of a choice on my list. I wanted it to be higher, but she couldn't be any higher than this. So this is where she stays, guys. But there is a number 1 choice for this list, guys, and let's check it out. Coming in at number 2, it's from the realistic Clone Wars line they created. This is Assaj Ventress. They made her a more realistic look that wasn't really based on that anime version of Clone Wars at the time. And this figure came out in 2012 as a part of the Clone Wars line, and it's the Sith apprentice Assaj Ventress. Obviously, we've recently had the 6-inch Assaj Ventress come out, which is absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen my review of that, please check it out. It is great. But I do love this figure as well. This little 3-inch figure was the first Assaj Ventress figure I ever owned, and I love it to this day still because of the realism of the figure. So let's take a closer look at this awesome action figure. And now we have Assaj Ventress. This is Assaj Ventress from the Sith Apprentice version from the, I'm going to pronounce this name totally wrong, but I think it's Tartakovsky Clone Wars, and it's the realistic variant, the realistic series of Clone Wars figures that they made, and she's number 47 from 2012. This was basically what Clone Wars would have looked like if it was made in live action, basically. Kind of what Black Series tries to do now, where they try and realize cartoon figures to make them more realistic, kind of. And you know what? It looks terrifying. She looks a little bit different to what we're used to at this point. But I imagine this is what they'd kind of do to her if they made her a live action version, to be honest. But still, she is still pretty cool. But I do like the original look for Assaj. But this figure was awesome, and I had to pick it up because it was one of the only figures at the time that I could find of her. And she was always my favourite from the moment we saw the Clone Wars, the first few series and that, especially the old Cartoon Network anime version. She was like the main bad guy with Count Dooku. It's Count Dooku's apprentice, and she's definitely carved her own way into the Star Wars lore now, and she's such a cool figure. Given the fact that it was a realistic approach to the line as well, I like that a lot. And yeah, she's definitely different from everything we've got so far, so she had to make it onto this list, guys. Don't you agree? Let me know your thoughts on her in the comments below. That's it, guys. We've made it all the way to number 1. I can't believe we've come this far. Thank you very much for watching. But number 1, guys, has to be Darth Talon. Darth Talon was from the comic 2-pack, and I was able to get her at a convention singly. I haven't got the actual 2-pack or the comic she came with, but I did get the figure and her lightsaber, so I'm very happy about that. She is my number 1 choice, guys, and she still is my number 1 choice to get a 6-inch variant. Please, Hasbro, help us with a 6-inch variant of Darth Talon. Bring her back from Legacies. In fact, bring her back altogether. Let's have Darth Talon in canon. Come on, do it for us. So guys, let's take a closer look at Darth Talon. I could not believe my luck the day that I was at Comic Con and I came across this figure. From the Legacy Collection Comic 2-Pack 4 from 2008, it's Darth Talon. Again, one of those characters now that is sadly in Legacy. She was such an amazing character and I love her figure so much. And we're probably never going to see her again. I hope we can change that, and I hope that because they're giving us characters like Jackson, for God's sake, in Black Series now, surely they can give us a Darth Talon. She's more like rememberable than Jackson, surely. But what do you expect? I really like this figure, and maybe it's because of the way she's dressed. Maybe that's why they're not tackling her, a bit like how the Black Series Hasbro line seems to skip over Slave Leia every chance they get. Is it because of the costume? Is she too scantily clad to be recreated in a 6-inch variant? It is for adult collectors, so don't get me wrong. It should be done, but it's just whether Hasbro is willing to do it. But Darth Talon is such a badass. I really want to see them recreate her for 6-inch because she is so awesome. Just look at that face sculpt. I really want to see that recreated in 6-inch, guys. I really do. She's so awesome. But what are your guys' thoughts on Darth Talon, and what do you think to my list? Let me know in the comments below. So there you have it, guys. My top 10 action figures in 3.75 inch from the Star Wars line. What are your top 10 figures from the Star Wars 3-inch line? Let me know in the comments down below. But let's head on back to the main cam and finish off this video. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this top 10 video. If you want to see more top 10s, let us know down below. We can definitely do another top 10 video for you. Hope you enjoyed this new style of recording with me standing before the camera. It makes it a little bit more exciting for me. It makes it easier to express how excited I am about these figures. And plus, I think it makes a nicer backdrop for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this new style of video, but thank you very much for watching. As always, I'm your host, Soup Soil, and I'll see you in the next video, and until then, may the Force be with you. Bye!